Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of hopsgeeknews, your home for comic books, movies, TV shows, and we typically feature a beer of the week. And my microphone is not even working, so that's fun.
I couldn't even tell. You sounded good.
Okay, it wasn't registering. Well, there we go. Whatever. Hello.
I hear you.
Welcome back. There we go. Okay. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of hopsgeeknews, your home for comic books, movies, TV shows, and typically we feature a beer of the week. I am Matt. With me, as always, is Lauren, and today we are going to go into Westeros one last time because neither of us watch House of the Dragon, or maybe Lauren
Oh,
does,
I
but
did.
we are talking A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, wrapping that up, putting a fancy bow on it, and we are going to start. I got a nice, it's Crusher. It's a West Coast from Mason Ale Works. It felt
Ooh.
very on brand for the things that we see and do and whatnot in
Oh,
this
that looks like a
series.
supernatural beer.
I could have saved it for that, but what do
We
you
never
have?
know when we're doing those. I
Yeah.
actually have one that Josh brought me back from when he was over in Croatia called Horizon Brewing. It's called Hazy Queen.
Mm,
So, you got kings and queens, and
you
I
too?
got a little Tywin
Targaryens?
Lannister here. Oh, nope, not Tywin, Tyrion Lannister.
Ah, well, wrong Lannister. The Lannisters aren't around yet. Well, they are,
But
but
his dad's in this, you said?
well, he's not in it. We'll explain it when we get down
Yeah,
to it. But
we have some fun facts.
as we go into what we're reading or watching, I have been reading Absolute Wonder Woman 17. It continues to get better. This is Season of the Witch, issue number 2. Zatanna came up in last issue. Some things happen. Hijinks ensue. And yeah, so we got some things with that. And then I can't even remember what I've been reading aside from that. Oh, Predator Bloodshed is a really good one that I read from Jordan Morris, who was on our show a couple years ago. He's going to be joining us on Nerd Initiative to talk about the Marvel stuff he has coming down. But this is setting up a new Predator run, and it's got the people are going to go fight as one does, and the Predator shows up. So what more do you need in that kind of aspect? But that's kind of what I've been into. Haven't really been watching anything. The Traders ends tonight, so go Rob Roush. Hopefully Rob wins. And what have you been reading or watching?
I did do Supernatural issue 5. It's definitely gone to places I did not expect it to go. I'm looking forward to 6 because how it ended, they mentioned somebody that I'm excited to see hopefully show up in the comic. So we'll see where that goes. That's from Dynamite. I did the new Space Age number 3. We had Kenny Porter on a while ago talking about that and Mike Becker. That's been really cool. So I got to read the first issue that we did not read before when we
Oh,
had
that's
them
right.
on.
Yeah. I
That's
haven't
the
read
one. The guy's younger brother basically gets abducted by aliens when he's little, and then he figures out how to travel to space on it. He is an astronaut, but they're like cutting funding for the astronaut program. So he's like, well, I got to get to space on my own. I got to find my brother. Nobody believes me. And he ends up combining magic and witch ruins to space travel. So it's a very unique kind of take on like space travel. And it's one that I'm almost surprised I haven't seen before. So I'm really enjoying that. Spider-Man and Wolverine wrapped up. Good
Oh,
God.
this is the final issue? I was wondering if it was continuously going because I thought it was over at a point, but it just kept going and I fell off because
It's
I just
just too much.
did.
Well,
So I didn't
it
realize it was over.
It ended with the end, like, question mark kinda
Mm.
thing, so I think that they might come back. If they do come back, I hope it's Mark Guggenheim writing and that entire art team because the art in that issue was
It was
so
awesome. It was a really good artwork. Yeah.
good, yes. Is Ted Okay is one from Mad Cave Studios I reviewed. I
Mm.
really liked that. I My favorites tend to be these indie random ones. They end up being, like, the best stories.
The
So
cover looked really good for it. Your review was really well, and it made me want to read it. So I'm gonna have to sit down and read that at some point because Mad Cave has had some pretty good books coming out lately.
yeah, they really have. And I reread the first omnibus of The Boys, and if you wanna hear about that, head to Nerd Initiative's website, their YouTube. Thomas and I sat down and we went through the entire first 14 issues of The Boys comic, broke it down, we compared some of the show and whatnot, and we're gonna be doing that every Saturday leading up to The Boys season 5, April 8th.
Oh, that is exciting. So we have that. We've got Daredevil, Man Without Fear Mondays. We've got Monarch Fridays. We don't have a cool name for that, but every Friday is Monarch Legacy of Monsters until May 1st with Chris and I, and then Lauren and I. Yeah, you and I. That's right. We you and Thomas have the boys, so we got a lot going on post show wise, which is gonna be exciting. And then also talking about the comic books that made all of these things possible. So I should probably reread that. We got got some exciting stuff with the boys coming up. I can't wait. But
Absolutely, yeah. And I started rewatching it, so we will do a recap of season 1 of Daredevil before that comes out, and we will do a recap of season 4 of The Boys before
yes,
that comes
yes,
out.
of course. And we're less than a month now from Daredevil Born Again season 2, so I can't wait for
We're
that.
gonna have to record that like next week or something. Shit, I
Yeah,
need to
well,
start watching that one
I
because
know
it's
I need to rewatch. Well, I've been watching.
maybe
It's I've been
we could record it together in person.
Could. Actually, we could do that, in person at your actually, yeah, or at the yeah, we should do that. I'm working on my Daredevil cosplay. We'll see how that turns out. We'll see. I've never neither of us have cosplayed before, but we're gonna be doing it at MegaCon. Well, we kind of have, like, loosely, lazily, but we've not like, I'm building. Carrie's helping me,
Right,
and
like
I'm
I've been Dean Winchester.
yeah, I've gone as a guy, or I've gone as Matt Murdock, where I threw a suit on, or I've gone as Loki, President Loki, or Tony Stark. All lazy, but this is, Carrie and I were looking. I got the black helmet. I'm gonna get the cosplay for it. I was working on 3D printing, hopefully some of the gauntlets that I need with the flexible TPU. Like, I got the cosplay foam, so we're gonna see how it goes, and
I got
it
Laura's
will be.
claws. Yep,
I don't know. I've always been self conscious about cosplaying, but something I've always wanted to do. And
same.
screw it, man. Let's go have fun. Who cares?
I have no hesitations dressing up for a grown-up Halloween party, but
I know,
cosplay,
isn't that funny? Like,
I don't know what it is.
it was actually cute because when I was I'm piecing together an Iron Man mask for Oliver, but there was this kid who was there with his mom because I would do it at the library, so I used their big printer. So this one is like a big printer,
Mhm.
and this kid comes up and they were fascinated because I donated the big Wolverine helmet I made that was not going to fit on either of our heads.
Oh, that was
So I
nice.
donated there to show people what they can do. And they were looking at it. They were fascinated. Then they were fascinated with what I was building, or, the Iron Man helmet. And then I was just like, yeah, I've showed them all the helmets I made. And then they're like, what do you do with all this? And I was like, well, this one I made because we're going to dress up and go to this comic. And the kids' eyes lit up when I mentioned a comic book convention, like, with everything. And, they were fascinated. And so his mom looked like she couldn't care less. She just was, please end this conversation. But the kid was asking me questions. So you know what? I'm going to spread the good word
It's
of
so funny.
comic conventions. So
I always think it's
yeah,
funny when you bond. Like, I have a Wolverine and Deadpool purse that Tabby made me, Bunny Tail Designs, and it's cute little cartoon Deadpool and Wolverine, and they're like, Deadpool's leaning on it, and I've gotten compliments from multiple little boys.
yeah, it's,
Excuse me, I really like your purse, and I think it's so cute.
it's awesome to reach that next generation and everything like that. And the kids are fascinated with the 3D printer. So I have the small one here. Hopefully I can do some stuff with, but I couldn't get it to work right now. So we'll figure that out. But yeah, that's my new obsession, I guess. So
I believe 3 weeks from
another,
today when we're filming is MegaCon.
I
So
know, God bless that. Oh, I didn't even realize it was 3 weeks because March starts this weekend. Oh God.
yeah.
Wow. And then, wow. Okay. Well, turn your clocks forward this coming Saturday, everybody, on the 8th.
I
And
know. We're gonna be on the Mickey boat. I feel like I need an hour back. They need to refund me. Give me a free
they should
beer
leave an hour early
They should.
or an hour late. Either way.
Been
Some news.
bamboozled.
We do. Speaking of Night of the Seven Kingdoms, season 2 is happening. They originally wanted to wait for the kid and everybody to age appropriately, but that's not going to work. Come on, man. So
You never
they
know
are
how
going to be
kids
doing
are
it.
gonna
I think they're going to
age.
get starting this summer, I want to say, on season 2. And it's a graphic novel. If you want to go read it, this is a graphic novel. It's very short, and it pretty much takes place with what we saw already in the books and everything like that. So aside from that, Ted Lasso, August, the women's team. I'm pretty excited for that one. I can't wait. We'll see.
I didn't even know that's what it was. I thought you were about
Yeah,
to
no,
talk about
it's taking about
women's
the
hockey.
no, 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 no. It's Ted Lasso. They're focused on the women's team now. No more
Oh,
men's
that's
soccer.
cool.
It's
I
all
did not
women's still.
realize that. Wow.
That's
I just knew
allegedly
it
what
was
it
coming
is.
back.
Speaking of which, I saw Nate. I was watching Celebrity Traders UK, and the guy who plays Nate was on it, and it was weird because I was thinking Snake. He's gonna, yeah. So
Wasn't he at something? Didn't I think Mike
he might have
interviewed
been,
him, didn't he? I don't know. He's
maybe.
interviewed a lot of people. I feel like somebody talked to him or he was
He drops
somewhere at a
random
con
things.
or
I don't know,
something.
man.
He
So
does. Yeah.
who knows? But that's kind of all the news we have. So without further ado, we can go into, Night of the Seven Kingdoms, starring Peter Claffey as Sir Dunk, and Dexter Soul Ansel as Egg. This takes place about it's 90 years before Game of Thrones, something like that. So House of Dragon season 1 is year 112 or whatever. Yeah, why don't you break this down? This you wrote it very confused. I know how it takes place, but the way you wrote it is confusing my brain.
Oh,
So I'm gonna let you
sorry.
take this one.
Well, the years are weird. So House of the Dragon season 1 takes place in the year 112. So that's Rhaenyra and Daemon Targaryen. Daemon is Matt Smith. They are the great 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 grandparents of Egg. They're also niece and
Yes.
uncle, but it's the Targaryens. What are you going
Yeah.
to do?
Targaryen
Viserys,
incest.
the second Targaryen, is the great great grandfather. We have only seen him as a baby in the show so far. So then in the year 129, that's Dance of the Dragons. That's House of the Dragons season 2. And
Oh,
obviously season 3 is the one that's coming out this summer. Night of the Seven Kingdoms, which is what we are talking about today, is I want to say 2009, 209. So it's roughly 100 years after House of the Dragon. And then it's about 90 years before Game of Thrones. So then we go into Reign of the Mad King, which obviously we've heard about in Game of Thrones, and that takes place in 259. The Mad King is
I didn't
Aerys'
realize the Mad
second
King
Targaryen.
was Egg's son. Oh wow.
Yeah,
I did
yeah.
not realize that.
I didn't either. I was Googling all this and trying to figure it all out because I like to write the things
It's
down
so
and
sad
see it
because Egg
clear
is
for
such a
me.
sweet, sweet boy. Like
But yeah, you never know. But also they do a lot of inbreeding. That's not
I
good for the
do.
brain.
Well,
I think,
Egg
a lot
didn't
of
get
people
down with
had
it. I don't know.
but a lot of people had issues with Khaleesi going dark side so quick, and I feel like it was because she's not programmed
No,
right.
that one was bad. That was just there's indefensible. But anyways,
Okay, so Reign of the Mad King was 259, and so Khaleesi is the granddaughter of Egg. So Robert's rebellion is then in 282, so that's when he takes over. It's no longer the Targaryens. Now we're to Game of Thrones, which is 298. So here's some fun facts to kind of connect everything together or confuse you more, however you want to look at it.
yes.
So
Also,
Master Aemon Targaryen, who's the old dude
are
from
you
the
saying
Night's Watch,
Hargarian or Targaryen?
Targaryen. I don't know,
I think
monster,
you're
monster,
whatever. I do
Targaryen.
continue. Yes, the Targaryens.
Meister Aemon Targaryen from the Night's Watch, the old dude that everybody
He
loves in the Night's Watch.
did not want no part of the kingdom. That's why Egg became the king because he didn't. So after
You don't want it.
Maekar Targaryen dies, and so they wanted Aemon to be king, but he wanted no part of it. He said, "Absolutely not. Do not want this." They didn't want Egg to be king because of his adventures with Dunk. They felt it made him too peasantry, and they always looked down on him for that. But then eventually he became king and married kind of a peasant type woman, which is something that they always kind of held against him. So yeah,
He
he
didn't
was not
marry
the
his
first.
sister? Ugh.
No, he was not the first pick for king. His brother was, and his brother said absolutely not, and went to do his thing at the Night's Watch and everything.
It was like, if you're not gonna be king, then you gotta go to the Night's Watch. You can't just be hanging out here and say, "I don't want it," like Jon Snow.
Exactly. Well, like he was already off to be a part of that, and then they decided to be like, hey, your pops, he's dead. Like, come be king, and he said, nah, I'm good.
Gotcha. Okay. So, yes.
Yeah,
So,
Tywin
yeah, so
Lannister
he's the
was
older brother of Egg.
yes,
Now we're to Tywin Lannister, which you informed me was Egg's cupbearer.
yep. Which is crazy when you think about it, because he's old in Game of Thrones, but that it all is connected. And then Sir Lionel Baratheon, known as the Laughing Storm, is probably the great grandfather of Robert Baratheon. Yeah, they're all kind of like Robert Baratheon. Obviously, married like Egg's somebody over there. That's how they all kind. That's how he ended up becoming king, of
Well,
course, as
Robert
well.
married, what's her face? Oh my gosh.
Yes, the
Cersei
Lannister. Yes,
Lannister,
but
yeah.
there were all the Baratheons were involved. Anyways, Joffrey mentions that there were 4 pages of info about Sir Dunk the Tall, showing that he must have been quite the guy. He was indeed. I don't want to give away what happens to Sir Dunk in the books, and all of that good stuff, because I do know how all of it ends for him and Egg and
I do
crew.
not know, so that's not in
So I'm
here.
not I will not tell you. Now the badass, I want her to know is me, Olenna Tyrell, mentions the ashes
Love
of
her.
Aerion Targaryen, Bright Flame. He thought drinking wildfire would turn him into a dragon, and of course he was wrong. This is Egg's brother that caused all of the drama, and he went out drinking wildfire. Woof.
Yeah, the way she said it, I assume that's how he went out. So he went out a cocky dick, just like he lived his
He
life.
always was kind of that. Yeah. So there are 3 novels. I don't know if they finished all of the novels, but you can read The Hedge
I
Knight,
believe they
The
did. Yeah, they
Sworn
did.
Sword, The Mystery Knight. Okay, it's one of the few things that he actually finished. Now, Sir Dunk is actually 6'11" in the book, but he is 6'5". And believe it or not,
Yeah.
they made the fight the trial of the seven, that fight was much more brutal in the show than it was the books. There's a fight coming down the pipe that is way more brutal than anything he faced in the trial of the seven, funny enough. So I'm interested to see how they do that. But starting with episode 1, the Hedge Knight, on his journey to the forthcoming tournament in Ashford, Dunk meets a clever young boy named Egg who offers to be his squire. This show starts off with some hilarity. Sir Dunk is behind a tree. Really,
Why?
really,
Why did they need to show that? That was completely
that one
unnecessary.
that one was one of those, I don't know what's going on. I don't know. That was very
Relevant. It's like everybody says like, "Oh, the boys get so gross and out of line," but they always make it relevant. That was completely nobody needed to see him taking a shit. That was completely irrelevant.
somebody needed to, I don't know, but
Nope, nobody needed that.
he meets Egg, and he kind of is annoyed with Egg, but you also see that he doesn't really know how to be a firm knight. He's kind of this lost,
He's
lonely
mourning.
dude. Yeah. His knight, he was a squire, and
He just
so
buried his
yeah, and he ended up
master.
lying and saying that, yeah, I'm a knight, dude, of course, and ends up meeting Mr. Lionel Baratheon. They have a good old party. That guy knows how to party, first and
Yes,
foremost.
I
I'd
would like
enjoy
to party
partying with
with
him.
that guy.
So. But I really enjoyed the first episode. It's 30 minutes. Each episode was 30 minutes, which was really, really nice. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, they were all very short, and quick, and it was always kinda like, "Oh, that's it?"
Yeah. What happened?
Um, yeah,
What do
I
you think?
liked it at first. I liked the first one. It was good. It's, set everything up. You could tell he didn't really know what he was doing, but you always kind of saw where it was going. So episode 2, hard salt beef, Dunk appeals to various lords because he's trying to get entrance into this tournament and he can't really do it on his own.
Somebody's got to vouch for him, because
Yeah.
they are like, are you sure you're this Hedge Knight? And nobody really remembers his dude
Sir
there.
Apple Tree, what is it? Penny Tree.
Penny Tree, yes, yes. Nobody really knows or remembers who he is. So yeah.
So Egg though is telling him he's what to do. So obviously this kid's been around the block. Like he's very knowledgeable, very wise for his age. And when the Targaryens arrive at Ashford, Dunk is like, "Oh, I'm going to take my moment," and he's going to go talk with Prince Baelor. And he really does shoot his shit. You got to give him credit for that. He is not above asking for
He
what he
says
needs
he
to get
brings up
ahead.
honor. Honor is something very important to Dunk. And Prince Baelor is somebody who is one of the only Targaryens to ever have some honor about him and actually be a decent dude too.
Right, which seems very rare. I
Yeah.
do like at one point somebody calls the Targaryens like incestuous bastards or something, which means that they also saw like I kind of thought like Game of Thrones because you meet the twins, the Lannister twins, like, oh, I guess incest is just like a thing they did back then. It wasn't just royalty, but it really was mainly royalty because
They
obviously
wanted
the
to keep it in, yeah.
commoners looked down on that, and obviously once Jon Snow knew
Well,
Khaleesi
it's
or
real life. Like,
Daenerys was his
incest was really large in medieval times with the kings and
yes.
stuff like that, because they wanted to keep it in the family. They thought there was, you're not worthy enough of our blood, if you will. So
But then they started
whatever.
getting those terrible chins and all sorts of, ailments and stuff. You're not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
Also, it's gotta be so hard to do that because it's like, I look at my brother and, like, he's the most disgusting person in the world.
Well, good news. You don't have to worry about Lauren becoming a queen of Targaryen of sorts. That's good
Oh,
news.
I mean, my brother will say the same. He's like, "Oh my god, your voice is so annoying." Sorry to everybody who listens to this podcast that has to listen to my voice. My
Her
brother
voice
says
is
it's horrible.
nails. Yeah, well, it kind of works out for him though, because he ends up getting into the tournament. It does work, and now we take out episode 3 where Sir Dunk prepares for the tournament, and we get a little bit more about Egg at this point as well, because he's the thing I love most is Dunk and Egg are just two dudes being bros. They're hanging out. They're watching the little tournament, jousting together. They're just shooting the breeze, having some cider, making fun of each other. Their relationship really makes this entire
Like a
series,
big
honestly.
brother.
Yeah, they get along so well, and they're just watching things go. But Dunk has a thing for this peasant girl, if you will.
Yes, and Egg sees that, and I love that when, Egg's older brother is basically
Yeah, Arian's
beating
out
up
there
to
being
oh,
a
yeah.
douche, man.
He immediately knows, like, Dunk will defend her honor, and he runs and get him, and Dunk doesn't even think about the consequences. He doesn't care that he's a prince, he goes right for it. I did love that. I knew the reveal was coming. I think everybody kinda did, but it was still
I
fun
actually
to
didn't,
watch.
but maybe
No?
that's because I was just half awake watching it the first time through. I've watched each episode like 4 or 5 times, and because Chris and I did the
Right, the
post show,
recaps.
but I didn't the first time. And then also I had to like wince a little bit because they were about to curb stomp him on the stage.
Oh God, I looked away.
And it was Game of Thrones, so I knew nothing going into this. Of course, I read up on everything once I got involved in the show, but I knew nothing. And so I'm sitting there thinking like, oh God, this is Game of Thrones. They're going to curb stomp him.
Mm.
And think they didn't. That's when Egg shows up and the big reveal of, he shaved his head because he didn't want to be anything like his brother. And he's the missing boy. Like it's Kevin McAllister out there just wandering Westeros apparently because
I
he's
saw
just,
the comparisons with Catherine
yeah,
O'Hara. The
so like,
memes, yeah.
but then you're just sitting there, oh dang, that was crazy because Dunk didn't think twice and he was about to get chopped up, man. And
It was
Egg saved him.
it gave me Jasmine vibes, like Jasmine and Aladdin, like when they're like ready to like cut Aladdin's arm off or whatever, and she's like, "Stop, unhand him by order of the princess." And then Egg is just like he names the people, he
He
tells them
does, yeah.
to let go of him or whatever.
And Dunk's
Uh,
looking there like, what?
yeah,
Bro. It
like
was
he
one of
didn't
those
ask
moments.
any questions. Dunk really did not ask
He's very
questions.
naive. Well,
Very,
he's
very
naive. He believes in
giant
fairy
child.
tales. I mean, think about it. He lived his life with a poor knight on the road who didn't learn anything. They were going from town to town. He came from, you know, a very poor, like flea bottom. It was a very nasty upbringing for him. He had to steal to get by, and he believes in fairy tales. Like knights are noble, honorable people, and nobility is supposed to mean something. So he was very just naive. Of course, he didn't.
Like getting a dose of reality of how the real world is.
Yeah, he left town for the first time. He left his hometown for the first time, and it's not working out so well for the guy.
I did think the girl he liked had, maybe if that royal family just happens to be at that event, maybe switch up your entertainment and don't mock the dragon. Just for that. I'm all free speech, but
But also
maybe
at the same time, I
that
feel
day.
kind of just that's so weak sauce for him to get so bent out of shape.
Oh, 100%. I feel like it was in there to show what a dick his older brother is.
Right.
But the second he walked in, she knew she had messed up. She immediately was like, "Oh, crap." Like, you knew
Yeah.
they were there.
Well, but she didn't think that they would come out and intermingle with the peasants, though.
Doesn't seem like it's that big of a festival
Well,
or a
budgets, I
tournament.
don't know. Okay,
I don't know. I
they only
feel
went
like
to go show face, I guess, anyways, and then now they got involved into a big tournament because the next episode is,
he didn't
Dunk
even get to kiss the
is
girl.
getting no, he never saw the girl again
No.
either.
Maybe she went to they said where she went. I don't remember where she went, though.
Well,
She had to
he
get
never
out of
saw
there before
he
that guy
didn't
finished her off.
poor Dunk did not get to kiss the
Not in a
girl.
fun
He
way.
did not
No.
do it. No sha-la-la for Dunk, not at all.
He got
Instead
Egg as his Jasmine, no Ariel.
instead, Arian's calling for a trial of 7 because he doesn't actually think Dunk's gonna be able to get 7 people or 6 people on his side. So he honestly, when he does this is the first time in over a century Dunk has to find 6, knights to join him in battle. And Arian basically was doing it because he didn't think Dunk would get, so he thought it was going to be an easy victory and they were going to take his hand and foot. And even
Right, because he
Makar,
kicked him too.
yeah, and
Yeah.
even Makar goes, and I love that he just calls out Arian and basically calls him like a little bitch because the whole thing, it was awesome.
Well, I mean, he's gotta get sick of these, like, kids that just grow up so entitled. And
Yeah,
it's like I don't know, I guess when you're taught you're better than everybody, some people believe it and other
it's that
people don't.
royalty, he's got that privilege, that silver-haired privilege.
Ugh, that incestuous privilege.
Yeah,
Oy.
but
Oh,
it was still good. Like it brought that tension, and episode 4 really built it up really well because you go from having fun the first 3 episodes, right? And now in episode 4, the tone shifts completely, which I thought was a really well done way because it turned everything. I had no idea this was going to go. And all of a sudden they just, boom, no, things are actually going to get serious now.
yeah, and I felt so bad, like, once he thought he had his team, and then the one guy's like, "Oh, no, I'm fighting for their side."
Mm.
The Apple guy's cousin.
So yes, they kind of end this. He's getting his team together, and he's got the red apple or whatever. I forget his Stefan.
I
Yes.
love him. He is like I mean, the
Stefan
poor guy's
Foswell.
gullible as all hell, but we'll get to
Well,
him
no,
in
no.
a second.
Stefan is the douchebag cousin.
Oh, the douche okay.
Yes.
I love
We're
the cousin,
yes. So
his squire.
he shows up and he's just like, yeah, I'm gonna fight for this guy. What do you think I would fight for you for? And then you're just kind of like, oh, and then Dunk is pretty mad and he goes, is nobody have any honor? Because in the book, everybody kind of supports Dunk, and they even go up to him and say that how they support him and everything,
Oh,
but they
interesting.
took that out, and that's one thing that they actually talk about, they wish they had left in was the free folk, the poor folk, essentially telling Dunk how they're rooting for him. Instead, we get that guy standing up, he farts, showing
Oh
that
my
they're kind of
god, that was
against him.
ridiculous.
Yeah. But in the book, it goes that the common folk are actually rooting for Dunk and hoping he wins. And then
Hmm.
that's when Sir Raymond Fossaway, who's the green apple, he goes, "I'll fight for you, dude. You're my boy. We just met. I got you." And then he asks him to knight him, and Dunk goes, "I can't do that. I'm asking you to die." And then Lionel Baratheon shows up. He goes, "Get out of my way." Knights him, and we roll into
And
episode 5.
find out Dunk, though, didn't even get knighted. The guy died before he knighted him.
Fake it till you make it, because he's a knight now, and he goes on to be the in charge of
Dressed for the job you want.
he becomes eggs, like he's in charge of the knights. I don't know why I'm forgetting. He's top dog. He's Jamie
There's a lot of names in this. Clearly, I remember all the phases. I only remember
well,
2
this is Game of
names.
Thrones. It was actually easier to so Raymond Fossaway is obviously our loyal bestie there, and his cousin Stefan. It was easier to remember names this way or in this show than it was like Game of Thrones. For like, Game of Thrones, I can't remember anybody's name because it's really hard.
See,
But
I don't know. I felt like that was a little bit easier, and then it was nice when I read the book because I've heard from people if you read the book first, it's very confusing because you're trying to keep them all straight. But watching the show first and then the book, it was like I had all the
not for me.
pictures in my head.
Yeah, I don't know, but episode 5
I
is
think
In
I've
the
just
Name of the
given up.
Mother. This is the battle, and I really like the camera work. What do you think about the way this battle goes down and how the camera work was done? Because I really liked the first person point of views. Dunk's getting his butt whooped from the jump.
Yeah, so I loved all that. I loved the battle. I felt like the other part was a little bit slow, and it felt like it kind of like the battle
Well, it
went
was
too
important.
quick.
Well, yeah, it was because they were flashing back. Very important. Where his dude there was basically like, "Get up," It was
Yeah.
kind of those flashbacks.
I will say I did watch this one too after a all day drinking that
Oof.
I went to 12 Talons and then watched this, so that should give you an
Oh my,
idea.
12 talons is nothing but like stouts too. So like really
We
strong
closed it
people.
out too, yeah. But I did really love the fight. I obviously loved the part with the guy when, he takes the helmet off. Like, those scenes, whenever they do those in movies and TV shows, they always hit so hard because it's like you have that hope of like, "Oh, we came out okay,
It
we're
did get
okay."
hard.
And then it's like a creepy thing when they don't
Well,
realize they're
so
dying.
yeah, this battle. So they already kind of have an unwritten rule. So Baelor steps out. He's fighting for Dunk because he remembers his honor. Makar's on the other side. Unwritten rule is nobody is touching those two. Makar hits him in the back of the head. He hits him a little too hard, but there's also a theory that Baelor was wearing his son's armor, so the helmet was too small already. And so Dunk's out there getting whooped. He's got his eye. He's getting gouged, like, everything. And then I really liked how he gets up from the mud. It was such a brutal, visceral fight. And then he gets up, and at that point, Arian kind of knows he's cooked because Dunk just overpowers him. He's 6 foot 11.
Well, I think Dunk has been pulling everything for a while, pulling his punches and
Well,
pulling.
Dunk,
He's
Dunk
sort of
also
like
doesn't know how to
a
fight. He
gentle
just uses his
giant.
size
Yeah.
because Arian's so much smaller than him. That's how he really does. He powers him, beats his ass, and makes him give up. But Arian wasn't saying he was, he tapped out loud enough. And that's when Makar hits Baylor in the back of the head. Then Baylor comes and takes his helmet off and takes his brain off completely and then dies. And that one caught me. I was like, it's Game of Thrones. Somebody's going to probably die, but I didn't expect that to happen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's why that scene was so good. We didn't want him to die. He was a great character.
He's one of the only like good royalty, and he was next in line for the crown. And that's how Makar ends
Well,
up
that could
becoming
have been
queen.
also why Makar didn't have an issue doing it.
Well, no, he did. It was a complete accident. Actually, the one thing that they get is Makar in the books is very much it really burdens him throughout the rest of his life. People whisper about it. He
Oh, he
did,
does say that there will always be whispers. Yeah.
and so this very much like in the books is a little unclear who hits him in the back of the head and kills him. They think it was him for that reason, but Makar is very guilt ridden over this, and he never meant to do it. And that's one thing that they make abundantly clear with his character in the book as well.
Huh, that's interesting. I just would have assumed it's a Targaryen. I mean, they're freaking killing each other in House of the Dragon, and
No,
they're all related.
it's one of those rare instances where you get some good Targaryens out there, and that unfortunately they're just a cursed family.
But Maker wasn't blonde.
No, neither of them really were, which is
Well,
interesting. But
Wait, the one. Wait, no, I'm sorry. The one that
Maekar was
became
kind of
king was
blonder.
blonde. The
Baylor
guy that
wasn't
died,
blonde.
Baylor,
No.
wasn't blonde. So
Right.
it's like, it makes you wonder: is this a bastard child? Is he not really a
No, he
Targaryen?
was a Targaryen.
He just happened to
He
not be
just
blonde.
happened to not be blonde, I guess. I
All
don't
right.
know.
Well, in House of Dragon, the ones that aren't blonde are bastards.
Not this time, buddy. But yeah, coming out of that fight into the final episode of the season, Dunk's half dead against a tree, and he kind of is
He's like, this
talking.
Meister shite. Get
Yeah.
out of here.
But then, shout out to Lionel because Dunk basically tells him to have some respect, and Lionel goes, "Man, screw the Targaryens. They suck. Let them kill each other. I don't care. We fought for you. The little green apple kid fought for you. Like,
Yeah,
show
he's like,
us some
yeah,
respect."
I like that because he was not. I mean, I get Dunk feeling bad, like he didn't want to be responsible for anybody, but like, no, that guy was right. Yeah, we
He
were
was
there for you.
100% right.
Like,
Yeah.
appreciate what you have.
He was there. Yeah, like, dude, we were there for you. And unfortunately, he's not in the book. So I don't think we're ever going to see Lionel Baratheon again, unfortunately, because he was A1 sauce, steak sauce.
I don't know. He was
Really,
a
really
fan
loved it.
favorite. I feel like maybe we
I hope,
will.
I hope they do write him in somehow and we see more of him later because he was awesome. He was amazing. Loved him. But, I like how Maekar comes around to basically being like, "Hey man, why don't you take Egg to Squire? You can go to Summerhole and
How he
all that."
wanted, and then
No,
he
and
didn't
Dunk was
want
like,
it.
"No, dude, he needs to be a peasant." And
I
then,
don't want it.
yeah, we then see Egg show up to try to kill his brother Arion, and it was such a sad scene.
And his father knew exactly what he was doing.
Yeah, he just comes up and kind of places that hand on his shoulder, and you'd feel the heaviness of the whole scene. The scene was very well acted, and from there, Dunk's like, "Yeah, I'll do it," and then deals off, blah blah blah, and then at the end of the episode, Egg.
He's like, I'll do it, but I'm going to do it my way.
Right. Also, shout out to Ray, our dude Raymond there, Fossaway. He ends up with the whore from the first episode.
It's like,
She's pregnant.
we had sex last night and she's pregnant, so we're getting married. I was like, guy needs a lesson in biology, but also I'm happy for him.
You know what? Good for you.
She's super
She
cute.
was staring him
She
down too,
seems
like Dunk. She
fun.
goes, "Don't say anything," but like,
Yeah. I mean, he looks happy. She looks happy.
you know what? Good for them.
Congratulations to
He
them,
deserved
man.
it, and
He
he
does.
deserved it. But yeah, that was such a funny, oops, kind of moment where she's pregnant and Dunk is sitting there. Dunk's
He's
a
like,
bro through and through because Dunk didn't say anything. He could have called out, but he goes, "My boy is happy."
yes. I
Listen,
think if he had been like, oh man, I messed up, I think then he would have been like, look, dude. But yeah, he looked happy.
he was, and good for the two of them. Somebody
One
deserves
day,
happiness. All right,
somebody is going to explain the birds and the bees to him, and it's going to become clear.
It was my first time, and she got pregnant.
And the next morning, we found out she was what? Dad? That's not how that works. Or should I even call you Dad?
Doesn't work that way, but you know what?
Like Mean
Good,
Girls. If you have
good
sex,
for you.
you will get pregnant and die.
Just a whole lot of buffoonery because it's Home Alone 2 at the end, and this time Egg runs off and says, "Hey, guess what? My dad said I can come with you. My dad said it's cool if your dad said it's cool." And Dunk doesn't even bother. He goes, "All right, let's go, kid."
I
And
immediately was
then
like, this motherfucker's not going to check.
because so it was interesting because in the book when Egg ends up getting permission and gets Makar's ring because he goes, "Take this ring in case anything were to happen to you. Just show them the ring." That's how
Ah, and it'll save you. Okay.
But they kind of different in this because he runs off and it makes it seem like Makar has no idea that he's gone or where he went. So I'm interested to see how that plays out. And then we get it's been a long day.
Yeah, they don't usually play real music in Game of Thrones. I feel like that
Yeah.
threw me off.
So what are these 9 kingdoms though? Like the Egg's talking about. There's 9 kingdoms, sir.
I know. He's like, let me school. And I love the look on his face when he's like, what?
He goes, huh?
So the 9 kingdoms are Crownlands, Westerlands, Stormlands, Riverlands, the Iron Islands, the North, the Reach, the Vale of Arryn, and Dorne. So there were initially 7 kingdoms: the North, Mountain and Vale, the Isles and the Rivers, the Rock and the Reach, the Stormlands, and Dorne. When Aegon first brought them under Targaryen rule, but the Isles and Rivers were then divided into the Iron Islands and the Riverlands, and then the Crownlands were added into the mix.
Crowley.
Crownlands. The Rock became the Westerlands, and Mountain and Vale became the Vale of Arryn. I feel like that makes it more confusing, making the news.
There's a lot going on.
9. So that is straight from like the Game of Thrones wiki.
It's the Game of the Dunkopedia there.
Dunkopedia.
Whatever they call it. But yeah, no, what were your overall thoughts on this season though? Because I really enjoyed it.
So I did like the ending that he didn't know. Like, I understood when he said, "No, you can't take my son." Like, I would say no. It's not like you can call and check on the kid.
Very
Like,
valid reason, dude.
yeah, this is a little kid, and he goes, "This is my youngest son." Like, no, and I didn't blame it at all. But it made it a very like when he was going off, I was like, okay. But then when we realized he didn't know, that made the ending so much better.
Right.
I enjoyed it, but I didn't think it was anything that was like, holy crap. But I almost felt like they were
I thought this was like some of the best Game of Thrones. Honestly, it got me back into the Game of Thrones verse.
well, I feel like House of the Dragon is so over the top that like needed it to balance. But every episode I kind of walked away going like, well, that was enjoyable to watch, but I didn't feel like anything monumental happened or whatever, other than like the egg reveal, which I kind of knew was
That's
coming,
good.
and
I
then the
wish,
guy
but
dying.
not everything needs to be world ending. It's like the MCU. Not everything needs to be world ending.
Exactly. I enjoyed it. I will definitely be watching the next one, but it's not making my favorites on any list.
Interesting. Because wow, I feel very differently. I could not care any less about the House of Dragon, but I am very much involved in this. I want more of this. I can eat this all day. Whereas House of Dragon, I'm like, eh.
House of
And
Dragon
then,
is just a lot of animosity.
well, yeah, I am interested in the war coming, but I'm just didn't. I don't know. It got me back. I like the 30-minute episodes. I think that might be why I like it a lot too. Because if it was 30 minutes, self-contained, all right, let's go buddy cop it, and we're good now. And I think they're trying to do a season a year is what they said. So between 30 and 60 minutes is what they're talking about. And we're going to follow Duncan Egg some more, hopefully next year, already 2027 next year. That's kind of,
You know, it's funny when I wrote 2027 earlier, when I saw it, like the news reporter, and I wrote it in here, I was thinking that was 2 years
I
in
was
the future.
thinking that, when I read that, I go, wow, that's so
It's
far away.
2026.
But no, I guess
Yeah.
we're in March. So
Oh
that's
my
really not
God.
that far away.
Crazy.
And then in a couple of weeks, we're going to be at MegaCon. We might maybe have a Daredevil panel by the looks of some email
We
traffic.
should know in a couple days.
We really know, but either way, we're going to be there as press. Like there are so many of our friends who are going to be there. We're going to be there, so really excited for that. But go ahead, make sure you like, subscribe, share, follow. Anywhere you find us, we are going to be talking about Secret of the Ooze, the 30th anniversary of that with our good pal DT. And then we're going to recap Born Again Season 1. But if you want more Daredevil content, you want more Game of Thrones content, then check out the Nerd Initiative YouTube channel. Go to www.nerdinitiative.com where Lauren and I are just cranking out, just crushing it over there. Like, honestly, it's like working two jobs
Like
sometimes.
Maker did to his brother's head.
Yeah, pretty much. And check out hopsgeeknews on all of your social media platforms. And until next time, we will see you guys shortly. Please don't pick up any random children in Westeros. It just never ends well for you. So
Ask their
take that
parents,
advice.
man.
Hey, you know what? If your dad says it's cool, my dad said it's cool, but I would like to see it in writing first. Till next time.